What is up, Washington Wizard fans? Welcome into another Believe in Wizards podcast. I'm Modderno. He's Jahadi White. They're the Washington Wizards, and they are your last place Washington Wizards right now. And for once, as a basketball fan, I'm okay with that. And not only am I okay with it, I'm happy about it. They're getting a little more competition for that last spot. So I want to talk about that a little bit here as we go. But first, Jahadi, how are you? How are things?
Oh, everything's good, man. Good. Just hitting the podcast and then going to see the boys for the championship game for state. So
I love it. Good luck to them.
good day.
Yeah, that's a pretty big day for you. This is probably the least exciting part of it. So we'll try to make it fun and get you out of here on a high note, and look forward to hearing how they do later in the day. All right.
It's always the exciting part.
There you go. I like that. All right. Before we get going, we're brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all betting on the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest. BetOnline is your number one source for sports betting. For every Cinderella to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. So the Wizards are bad, as we mentioned, but that's okay because the young guys are playing and the young guys are actually looking pretty good. And it's not resulting in wins, so that's sort of best case scenario for where they are. Last night they lost to Utah. They're number one competition right now for the worst record, 128 to 112. And Jahadi, I just wanted to talk to you about this thing that happened, I guess, last week. Realistically, so the Wizards, who are now 15 and 53, are just basically one spot ahead of the Jazz, who are 16 and 54. And the Jazz have been nipping on their heels to catch up in the tank. The Wizards have actually been like winning games. They're just below 500 over the last 15 games, which is great to see them being more competitive overall. And the Jazz have gone completely the other way here. And they said, we're going to do our work on the back end. And it was a little too obvious. So the NBA fined them $100,000 for violations of the player participation policy, basically for just outright blatantly tanking. If you're one of the few veterans on a Utah team and your team goes this far into a tank, are you embarrassed? I don't. How does that feel being a player in a situation like this where your team is totally throwing in the towel to that degree?
I mean, well, the thing is this: it comes with the game. Sometimes you're on a great team, sometimes you're not on a great team, right? And so you understand that after a while that it's the business of basketball, right? Mm-hmm. And it's beyond me as a player. Sure. So now, since we're tanking, and it's understood that we have to tank, mm-hmm. How can I keep my value? And that's really how it goes. It makes the season much longer. It makes the season less interesting. Yep. It makes your goals change, right? But you understand, okay, it's the business. I have to maintain my value.
Mm-hmm. For the Wizards, they did their work on the front end, and now they're okay winning a couple of these games. If the young guys are just so organically good that they win a few, they're willing to live with it. And for me, even if they lose a bunch, I'm okay because they've got the young guys in there that are clearly, trying their hardest, and they're playing mostly the people who are physically available to play. Now, if they were in a playoff hunt, could a couple of these guys, maybe be powering through? Sure, but why? To me, I get it. That's different than tanking. If we're not gonna this guy's got a little nagging injury here or there, we're not gonna make him push through it for nothing. Whereas Utah is just hey, you're resting today. You're resting today. You're resting today. That I think is a little extreme. I think it's just bad for fans and bad for the league overall. The league tried to get rid of this by flattening the lottery odds to make it less advantageous to just be colossally awful. And I don't think it's really worked. And these fines, I don't think scare an NBA team off. If it gets you Cooper Flag, I think you're perfectly willing to donate that $100,000 to do it. You're going to make that up on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. So the good thing about the Wizards is that the guys are organically good. The young guys that's playing are organically good.
Yep.
Right. But they're not organically, they're young, so they don't have enough experience.
They're not going to win you
games. So it's not the talent-wise, it's the experience-wise to still go get them over the hump to win. Mm-hmm. So now we can, as a fan, you get to see the guys play. You get to see how good they are, and you get to see, okay, how could they fit in the system, and once they get experience under their belt, where we could be. But at the same time, like you said, we're still in the race where we need to be in the tank off. We're still in the tank off. We're just, it's part of basketball. Like I said, every year there's about 3 to 4 teams in the tank off race.
Yep.
That's just as much part of basketball as those teams that's in the playoffs.
It's true. Yeah, for better or for worse, it's definitely just part of the business, part of the game. And I don't know. I think this is actually maybe the most fun time of year to buy Wizards tickets and go to a game and see the future. And if you go, Alex Sarr is going to get 35 minutes, and that's better to me than like a Richaun Holmes 28 minutes and Sarr 19-minute kind of game. So I think that's been pretty cool. And the Wizards young guys are responding. Since we last recorded, Bilal Coulibaly is done for the season with unfortunately an injury here. So gonna miss seeing Coulibaly. It's just one of those things where, hey, if he's not right, there's really no incentive. Just get him early and rested in the summer when he can do some skill development. We got to iron out this jump shot a little bit, keep working on the handle, all those things. In these last 10 games, like you've seen enough from Coulibaly to know where you need to target, what you need to do. And same with Corey Kispert. He's going to miss the rest of the year with a thumb injury. Like, we know what Corey Kispert is. There's nothing he's going to do for the next 15 games that changes your eval on him in any way, shape, or form. So those two guys sitting down, obviously we'd like to see more Coulibaly if we could, but it's not the worst thing in the world here either.
Well, those two guys sitting down are smart.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. I mean, you know where the team is going. You know what your value to the team. You know what you bring. You know what the team, your weight and your load that you have to handle with this team. Mm-hmm. And if we're going in this direction, right, me making sure my injury and not trying to go get another injury, because right now getting another injury would just be, it would be counterproductive, right? Mm-hmm. So the best thing for him to do is say, hey, let me throw in the flag and just heal up early. Now I can get back to training early and get better for next season. Not only that, I give these young guys an opportunity to play. Not only that, now it's not a pecking order out there. They don't have anybody that they have to defer to. So mm-hmm. Now you're seeing defer-free basketball. Now with defer-free basketball, you're seeing Alex Sarr do things that I didn't even know he could do.
Yeah,
right. But and that's just what's happening. Is okay. All the in the end of the day, basketball is a business. The team is a business, so it's a pecking order. These guys have to touch it so many times before I have to run it through these guys before I can touch it. That's not existing right now. So now the freedom of playing basketball is happening, and you seeing Alex Sarr play is with as much as freedom you ever seen him play, and all the things we would question that he needs to do. Now we're saying, oh shit, he already could do that.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little less a little less room to go, on some of these things right. than I would have thought. He's a little less raw in a couple areas, which is mm-hmm. is nice to hear. I think it's like the training wheels feel like they've come off for him mentally. Like they're just whatever like kind of block was there, or I don't know, maybe it's coaching. Like, we do not want you to do X, Y, or Z, but he's driving a little more, like he's putting the ball on the floor a little bit more. He's attacking some closeouts here and there. You're just like, okay, I wanted to see that so 70 games ago, but go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's not so much the training wheels, is that he has to play his role. Mm-hmm. But the things that you saying, oh, he can do that now, someone else had that role.
Right. Yeah.
So now he gets to now say, oh, I can do your role, I can do your role, and my role. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm free to do all the roles.
Sure.
And he's actually capable of doing a lot of them.
What's it like as a young player when you look down the bench and there's really no one that if you screw up, they can sub you out for? Like, it's, hey, I am going to have the opportunity to play through this mistake no matter what. And, like that's got to be pretty freeing, I would think.
It is. It's a great feeling because you can fix your mistakes faster. Mm-hmm. Or if I make a mistake, I got another opportunity to fix it. Yep. I can fix my mistakes on the fly instantly, mm-hmm. instead of saying, oh, I made a mistake. Now let me let me draw myself back in, because if I may get out the game if I do that again. So now let me draw myself back in and really tighten my game up to only like one or two things. And that's what happens, because I know what I'm out here for. I know what they want me to guarantee to bring. If it may be defending and protecting the basket, I have to guarantee bring those things, right? Now, if I make a mistake that had nothing to do with defending or protecting the basket, I may sit down.
Right.
But now I can go a little bit out of their way and then start trying some things. And if I make a mistake, it's okay.
Yeah, and they can rein you back in a little bit and say, maybe we don't want you to do that, but it doesn't mean you're going to go sit for the next 20 minutes. And
that don't affect me.
That's worth experimenting and doing that kind of stuff. And like we said, it's paying off here. He's not 20 years old yet. Like, this is still a 19.9-year-old essentially. Like, he's got, another month. So I think before his birthday. So he's the youngest player in franchise history to have a 30-point game. He set his career high in a first half at Denver a couple games ago. And he is, I think this was a Chase U stat, he is the first Wizards rookie to tally 24 plus points in a half since Jordan Crawford scored 26 versus the Miami Heat in 2011. So just his last 6 games here, just the box score: 22 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals in a game. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. 34 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks. One kind of dud in there: 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. And then 16 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks. That's a healthy stat line. Like, that's not just running up and down the court. You're going to magically get to those numbers. And just seeing the steals and blocks combo, I think, is also really refreshing here too.
That's a lot of touches.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a lot of touches now.
Yeah, they're making a real effort to get him.
Now I know. I'm guaranteed at least 10 to 15 touches a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's way more than I had before. Now, and not only am I with these touches, they want me to actually execute on these touches, right?
Yep.
I think with his size, we still got to get the rebounding up. We got to get it up. I mean, he has to be and he has the capability of being one of the top rebounders out here, right?
I'd settle for like 8. I'm not even greedy. Just give me like 8. I just the 3 or 4 rebound games are the one that kill me.
He's a walking double-double.
Yeah, he should be close. Yeah, I agree.
He has the capabilities and the talent to be a walking double-double easily every night.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I think that's where we should be headed, and we're getting closer to that. The scoring is there. Like you said, the rebounding getting a little closer would be nice. Yeah, only 1 double-double in those 6 games, and that's his best 6-game stretch of the year. So I take a few less points and a couple more rebounds, because ultimately that's going to be more the role for him moving forward. The other rookie that's been, particularly good in my opinion is Kyshawn George. Just knocked down his 100th career 3-pointer here a couple games ago. By doing that in his within his first 60 games, he's the fastest Wizards rookie to reach 100 made 3-pointers for their career. He beat Bradley Beal by a game there, which is pretty impressive. I just want to run through his last couple box scores too, because in his last 5, he's been pretty good also. In their last game against Portland, the last game that he played against Portland that I've got on the box score that's in front of me, 11 points, 3 rebounds. Game before that, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Game before that, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. 1 assist, 3 steals. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. And then 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 blocks. The stocks, the steals and blocks combo there is incredible to me. Like, this is a guy that was not a good defender at Miami, and I think this is clearly a gamble that the Wizards front office has made on a couple guys that were late bloomers physically, that they weren't the most dynamic or athletic, but they grew late and are now maybe kind of growing into their body a little bit more here. He just looks so much more fluid, and a guy like that, he may have never been in like a real strength and conditioning program in his whole life before he got to Miami for a few months. So, maybe it didn't fully kind of do its job. And these guys have probably worked on that explosiveness and dynamic movement. And he's in the right places. He's got the basketball IQ for it. Like, Some nights he gets a little ahead of himself with the turnovers, but guys that have that kind of processing and get those kind of assists, it's usually somebody smart enough to make some plays on defense too. And we're starting to see more of those. And I think that's been sort of the most exciting revelation. The scoring being up is one thing, he's hitting a couple more threes, but just doing everything else is like what I'm really impressed by.
What I like about Kyshawn George is he truly doesn't do anything spectacular.
Yeah. Jack of all
but he does everything.
Yep. 100% agree.
I mean, he's a utility guy that can shoot threes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's going to play defense. He can impact when he's going to get steals. He's a 50-50 guy. He'll rebound. He'll protect the basket. He can shoot threes. He can bring the ball up if he needs to. Right. So he's a guy that really doesn't. He's a positionless guy, but that can really impact winning because he can do so many things at a good clip, right. So, but he's not somebody that say, "Oh, you can say, what does Kyshawn George do exactly?" Yeah, he can do. She can shoot threes, but it's not you. You can't pinpoint him as a type of player.
Yep.
And that's where I see him growing because when you're that type of player, it's unique. It's actually unique. Everybody can't be that. You got to have the body type. You got to have the athletic ability. You have to have the long arms. You got to have the instincts. So what makes him unique is like how fast he's learning on the fly. And it's not that he's learning one thing. He's learning so many different things on the fly because he can do so many different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's learning some things Sarr has to learn. He's learning some things Poole has to learn. He's learning some things Kispert has to learn. He's learning some things Bub has to learn, right? Because all of those are compounded in his game somehow. So that's why I like him because he's truly a unique player.
He can fit with all these guys, and whoever they draft next, this summer coming up with their next big pick, whatever direction that guy goes, you can make Kyshawn work around him. And I think that's another really smart philosophy. So I'm wholeheartedly with you.
He can fit with any lineup. He can fit with any team.
Mm-hmm. And same thing, like Sarr, a 6'11" guy that could shoot block shots, cover a lot of ground. Like you can fit him around whether you take another big or you take a power forward. He can kind of be, either way you need to go there. And same with Coulibaly and, Bub can be a little 1, a little 2. Like there's just some options, and I think that future roster flexibility is great to see here too. And by the way, we're just saying that this is what Kyshawn does now. There is also an opportunity for him to level up in one particular area. What like he could be a jack of all trades and have a superpower down the road here too, which is exciting to think about. The other one here, he and Bub Carrington were the third rookie duo in the NBA history to each make 100 threes in their rookie campaign, which is awesome. Kevin Huerter and Trae Young did it for the Hawks in 2018-2019, and Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn did it for the Miami Heat in 2019-2020. So that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously the NBA has not been shooting as many threes, for forever here, but just having two guys that are getting up enough shots to make that list, I think is nice and shows that they're doing the right thing by getting these guys in the game here.
Or have the access or the capabilities to put it up as rookies. Like that don't happen.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Like getting that many shots in an NBA game is a skill.
Being able to, right?
Yep. I feel you there. Two other young guys I want to talk about real quick here, and then we'll move on a little bit. Seems like Wizards Twitter fan favorite AJ Johnson is really kind of coming on here a little bit. They're getting him some real minutes. A couple games ago against Denver, he played 18 minutes. He had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Then the next game against Portland, he had 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block. He did have 6 turnovers, but I don't even care because he was just trying stuff. And can I make this pass? Can I do this? You can kind of see him working some stuff out on the fly, which I thought was really cool. And he's being aggressive, and I'll take that as well as, so somebody that's just kind of content to just run up and down the court. And then last night against Utah, he had 12 points, 1 rebound, 6 assists, and only 1 turnover, which is awesome. And then still had the 2 steals. So And again, like, this is a dynamic player. He's really athletic. To me, Johnny looks like he doesn't really know how to play yet. He's just sort of doing it off instinct. And, I'm fast and athletic and I can make up a lot of ground here. And he didn't have the benefit of kind of all that, work to integrate him and learn the playbook and all these other things that the other rookies did. They're just kind of throwing him out there. And I'm sure a lot of it's similar, but you still have to learn your teammates on the fly and learn the NBA on the fly and all these things. He's probably moving at 100 miles an hour, and we're still seeing some good flashes, which is really encouraging.
That young man has something you can't teach.
Yeah.
And that's speed with the ball in your hands.
Yeah.
I haven't seen somebody move as fast as him with the ball in their hands and still control.
Yeah, like since John Wall, probably, at least in a Wizards uniform.
But he's long with it though. Long, he can rebound. I mean, he's the perfect project. If a coach wanted a perfect project or a trainer and someone hasn't really honed the project yet. But whoever he knows enough and whoever worked with him, he still knows how to get feel the court. Yeah, he's making turnovers. He's young, making turnovers. But if you notice, those turnovers start dwindling fast, right? Like last game, you said he only had one turnover.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
With the ball, he's fast. He's all over the place. So he's unique as well, and that's what I like about the Wizards. We have some unique utility guys, but this guy, if you really work with him and really build his game, you may have something with him.
I think so too. Yeah. Next year, to me, they're still going to add some more veterans here and, try to insulate their young guys. But 2 years from now, I think when these guys are ready to take more prominent roles for a full season, the blueprint of this team should be, we are athletic at every position. We have positional size. We're going to swarm you and we're going to run on everything. And you will be gassed by the end of the time. End of the time playing us. And he's a guy that really helps with that.
We're gonna throw athletes at you.
Yep. Good luck.
We're gonna throw athletes at you. Athletes. Now, that's a game plan. That's a tough one to match. In any case. Quick, fast guys who, and I'm gonna tell you, sometimes with quick guys like him, and that's probably what his issue is. When you have guys like him, you can't really, if you got him in high school or before, can't really put them in a system because the system slows them down.
Right. It's going to unleash them, right?
Their benefit is to play systemless basketball and go. I need to, I got to utilize what I have. So I need y'all to just run. Let's run everybody out the gym. And you could tell most of his basketball career, that's what he's been doing. So now you're like, oh, now I have to figure the system out but you can still see if you got a basketball eye how quick he is.
Yeah, he can physically move faster than I think his brain could go through offensive sets and things like that. You just want a few concepts.
I won't say that.
No, but I don't mean as a rookie, there's just, if you give me this really detailed playbook, it's only going to be that restrictor plate on me. You just want him to be able to just grab the rebound and just take off and do his thing. And
he's moving faster than he's solving the problem yet.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's a perfect way to say it. Yeah, totally agree. But hey, I'd rather have that and then kind of work backwards into, teaching him those things and how we want him to play. And, the person I thought kind of had the other problem, the opposite end of the spectrum here, I was really down on Tristan Vukcevic in the first couple games he played for the Wizards this year. He just looked slow and out of it. And, maybe that was a result of just not being in shape after dealing with whatever that knee injury is. I've still never seen, knee contusion listed on an injury report for multiple months. Maybe they just couldn't figure out what it was. I don't really know. I don't want to speculate too much, but in his last 3 games, he's had 15 points and 7 rebounds, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 17 points, 5 rebounds. He's kind of been billed as this soft, unathletic guy, but he's getting on the glass a little bit. In those 3 games, he has 5 total blocks and 2 steals. He's making plays. He's using his size, and It's another guy, I think he has a decent feel for the game. Like, you see it offensively, and he's getting up a lot of threes. In one game, he had 8 attempts. The next game, he had 6 attempts. And the most recent game, he still had 4 attempts. 4 games ago, he had 8 attempts. So, like, he is not bashful about if they get a 3-point look. I think that's what they've told all these bigs is, hey, we're going to go 5 out at some point. So you might as well hoist them now and get some practice. But he's been better.
If you were playing on a team where you were the 5th option, and really the 6th, or and you instantly become the 2nd option.
That's true.
You're gonna play free.
Yeah.
Your confidence is gonna be more. In the end of the day, man, like this, what people and people do know this, but this is crazy. These are NBA players.
The 10th guy is still real good. Yeah.
Which means they were the man somewhere before.
Mm-hmm.
They were a 1st or a 2nd option somewhere, most likely growing up all the way through high school. Right. So these guys can tap into the 1st and 2nd option. But what happens is you kind of get stuck in a role in college. You get stuck in a role in the NBA. And before you know it, sometimes you get stuck in that role so much, you end up limiting yourself and your skills and what you can show to do. And before you know it, you become a robot in that role.
Yeah.
But in that role, you might not be as well as everybody else in the role that you've been put in.
Mm-hmm.
But once you become free, you might be better in the freedom of the other roles you play in other people. Right? So I may actually be better in another role than the role I am in certain aspects. What I think with him is he's starting to show, like, now that I have more freedom and I'm a 2nd option, let me show you that I'm even better in this role and that role too, combined with what I do. And I feel like that's what him and Alex Sarr is showing us right now.
To that point, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is something I wonder about a little bit. And I think specifically as it relates to Bilal is, he may be the exception to the rule of, it's probably been quite a while for him where he was the guy, because he started on those like youth pro teams at such a young age and then got brought up to the main team, kind of ahead of schedule. So he really didn't get those same reps as like, all right, you're the guy, take this ball, go do it. And now in the NBA, we're asking him to do that. And we're just seeing him not sort of like naturally take toward, like, you've seen it, like you said, with Sarr, you've even seen it with Vukcevic. These guys are getting their opportunities and they're like, cool, like, let's rock. And Coulibaly seems a little more content to just sort of to go with the flow. And that's the thing I'd like to be able to see them sort of like, like jumpstart him into, is like, all right, we need you to take over a little bit more.
Well, you can see with Coulibaly that he's always naturally been programmed to make the person next to him look, I'm good. I'm going to make sure you look good.
The complimentary guy.
Yeah, he's a complimentary guy. I'm going to make sure, Wemby, you look good. And I'm going to put you in the right spaces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's his natural thought process. That's how he works.
Mm-hmm.
You can even see it in the game a lot, where he's passing up a lot of shots and over dropping passes when he can go right up. I'm like, why he just didn't go up?
Exactly.
Because that's his natural. That's his natural go-to. That's really how he's programmed. So it's going to be tough to now say, even when he's being more aggressive, and I like he's starting to be more aggressive, it's still not his natural like aura,
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like that he is forcing himself out of that. And it's parts in the game where he looks so comfortable being aggressive.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, you look just as comfortable being aggressive as you look making sure someone else looks good.
Right. If you did it for 15 minutes, you could do it for 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. They had that Toronto, this first of the Toronto games, he had 18 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, played 36 minutes, took 15 shots. I was like, yes, do more of this.
He's a crazy athlete too. He's another guy like this. So that's what I love. How many guys we got that can just, you just move, impact winning. Because
They
they can
look
be
like
so versatile, they can do so many things.
it'd be fun to play with guys like that too. You're getting up and down the court a lot, guys that are gonna like share the ball. And I keep saying this repeatedly, but like my favorite thing is that none of these guys are ball stoppers, like naturally.
No.
And I think that's perfect. And they seem happy to get the assist and do those things and be the running mate for some of these guys too. So gotta strike the right balance of being aggressive there and keeping true to that, like, unselfish play.
Right.
We got asked in the chat here by AG what we think about Poole. I'll say he probably his minutes are going to trend down over the course of the year here. He's been trying to battle through some injuries as well. I want to say shoulder. I'm kind of blanking on what that was. So their last game, again, last night against Utah, 20 minutes he played, went 1 of 11. You could just see he wasn't really himself, but he did get 5 assists, only had 2 turnovers. Just been moving the ball around a decent amount and allowing these young guys to kind of do their thing. So I think that's good for them for the most part. Like, if he's a guy that can be here for the rest of this rebuild, as these other younger guys get better and are more able to take on opportunities, that he's able to kind of scale back a little bit here too. Like, 2 years from now, when Sarr's doing his thing and Koulibaly's doing his thing and Cooper Flag or whoever's doing their thing, you probably don't want Poole there taking 20 shots a game. So him being content to take 11 is I think, better for their long-term chances if he's going to be here, as a part of that.
I think Poole right now is understanding he's in the mentality of, I got to score. I got to put up shots. I got to, right? And I do, but I have to lead and get my guys involved. He's going to have to start picking quarters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take over here in spots.
Yeah, see, he's not there yet, right? Oh, well, let me get this guy. Let me get these guys involved. Okay, mm-hmm. First quarter. Okay, second quarter. Yeah, first half of the second quarter. Let me make sure they still going in there. Second part of the second quarter. All right, now I got to get mine. Okay, third quarter. So when he does like those the really good athletes, the guys who understand the game, the LeBrons, the Kyries, if you notice, they pick quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know they have to get their team involved because they're going to need their team.
Yep.
He's not at the point to understanding the picking quarters yet, but that's where we'll be good when he gets to that point.
Someone you're very familiar with having to guard and him doing this, but I remember Shaquille O'Neal talking one time about, maybe he'd be deferential the first 4 minutes of a quarter and give these guys an opportunity to make some shots, and he'd move the ball around. And then if they didn't do it, he'd be like, okay, now I'm going to click in here a little bit. And, it was about like, I gave them their opportunity. I got them going because exactly what you just said. I know I'm going to need them at some point in this game. So I want to establish them early.
And you sustain throughout the game, but
mm-hmm.
also you prolong your career.
Yeah, not burning yourself out.
Think about how many guys who really good talent or guys that's like those league superstars
mm-hmm. that
beg. We need another guy. We need another guy who can get in here. Because they like, I'm burning myself out.
Yeah.
It comes to a point that you start to complain that you have to score 30 every night.
Mm-hmm.
Even though most guys in the NBA would love to score 30. But it gets to a point where I'm like, hey, man, I don't want to score 30 every night. That's hard to sustain. Not only that, I can't keep doing that and win. I have to defer.
Yeah.
I need another, believe you hear LeBron all the time, like, I need another monster.
Right.
I need it. And they okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the last year that Bradley Beal was in a Washington uniform, or the second to last year when he went for the scoring title there, like, it's nice to be able to have the freedom to go for that many points, but it's also nice to not have to be the one to go for 30 points for your team to have a chance to win. So
right.
I'm definitely with you. Last guy I want to mention, this is a guy coming out of Xavier that I was really high on, and that's Colby Jones. He was kind of a throw-in to one of these deals at the deadline. He looked really good last night, went 9 of 11, had 24 points in 26 minutes, also had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, another active guy. And he looks like he could be, another piece that they could try to develop a little bit more next year here too. And I'm glad to see him get a couple minutes too. So wanted to mention that real quick. Just 2 quotes I liked here. Koulibaly said of Marcus Smart, he's been teaching me a lot. I mean, just putting pressure on the guys without fouling. I was fouling too much, putting both hands on players. And he gave me a couple tips, so I'm way better now. And then same kind of deal, like Marcus Smart was like ready to fight Isaiah Stewart, who's sort of notoriously crazy and willing to fight people. And I thought that was awesome. And even Middleton was like ready up in people's face. Like, I think this team did kind of need like a toughness infusion.
Oh, no doubt.
And that's something you want these young guys to see early. Like, hey, like, so a different example here. Like, I was just at the Atlantic 10 tournament the other weekend, and George Washington was playing George Mason, and one of the George Mason players started just saying crazy shit to the GW bench, and their head coach, Chris Caputo, started yelling back at him, and he was like, look, none of my players said anything, so I had to say something. Nobody will talk to this team that way. Like, and if I've got to be the one to do it, I'm going to be the one to do it. And like, I kind of love shit like that. Like, you got to say like, hey, we may be rookies, but like, you're not going to come in here and do this shit on our home court and talk to us this way and do this sort of thing. So Marcus Smart, Chris Middleton being the vets there is very okay with me. And I'm glad that that's kind of rubbing off on the young guys a little bit.
The vets have to show the young guys, and that's something the vets have to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of having to be a vet, showing them that, hey, I'm willing to stand up. Chris Middleton, because you ever notice only 2 people who really stood up were the vets.
There's 2. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because they understand their role as, hey, I have to stand up for my team. That's something I have to do. No, I don't care how crazy this dude is. It don't matter. Like, that's something I have to do because I have to show the team that, hey, I got your back. And they've been around long enough. They've seen enough crazy. The NBA got a lot of crazy. You know what I'm saying? So Isaiah Stewart, crazy, not special to a vet. It's special to the young guys. Right? If you're crazy, they're special to me. Marcus Smart got a little crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm a good match. You're crazy with our crazy.
And you need it. So yeah. And most times, crazy don't go anywhere.
Right, exactly. Just you're drawing the line of what you're willing to accept from other teams.
Yeah, that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
Because how many times it escalates into anything?
Nothing. Almost none in the NBA now. Or like once a year, it seems like.
Draw the line all day.
Exactly. Yeah. There's almost no consequence.
That's what the young guys don't realize. Like, oh, this most likely won't escalate into anything. Draw the line.
Exactly. Most guys want to yell in your face and then do the hold me back like immediately. And I think Bub is the one guy that's sort of wired that way. But
I can tell you wired that way. But how many times you seen Kevin Garnett get into a fight? Really true.
Yeah, not like 2, maybe his whole career.
He does his whole career go and talk crazy to people, right?
Exactly.
It's part of the game, and it's a part the intimidation factor and the mental enforcing is part of the game.
Yeah, we're gonna see like 2 years from now, Tristan Vukcevic is gonna be the one getting up in somebody's face, and it's like he learned it this moment from this, like
right.
This is the payoff. So that was cool. So shout out Marcus Smart for doing that, and even if he's not playing a ton due to injury the rest of the way here, I hope he's kind of continually in these guys' ears and doing that sort of thing. Last one I got for you, Jahadi, is just kind of a random one. Wizards assistant coach Adam Caphorn has been named the head coach of Australia's national team, which I think is really cool extra experience to have on the Wizards bench. He'll obviously continue being a member of the Wizards staff. He is an Australian himself. He came over and played at St. Mary's, and Randy Bennett has like a pipeline of like bringing in Australian players like Patty Mills and Matt Dellavedova and guys like that. Caphorn was really the first one to come in on Randy Bennett's first team over there. So just cool to see, another, like we talked about the super friends in the front office, building, a coaching staff that's got a little, international flavor to it and more head coaching experience to it. I think it's just another like neat wrinkle for the group.
I think international experience on the coaching staff is extremely important.
Yeah.
Especially after watching this past year's Olympics.
That's true.
Because that offense that they play, overseas is so intricate, and the ball movement, and in the end of the day, the game is going to have to go that way, right? In some way, somehow, some shape, some form. And so that has to be a natural figment in your coaching staff, right? More than one, to now because now you have to implement those pieces because that leads to winning.
Yep.
That leads to winning. So, it's good to have that. It's good to have that because we struggle because the game is one way.
Yep.
And then when the overseas player comes in, they play a completely different way. That's more team ball, the entry thing, the flow of winning. If you have those guys who think like that on your team,
that's true.
You have to also
coach them that way.
That has to translate in the coaching staff.
That's right. Yep. I've got like a longer thing I want to pick your brain about here, and maybe we could do even like a little film watch on one of these over the offseason. But there was an assistant coach the Wizards tried to get in the offseason, Thomas Isalo, and he ultimately chose to be the number 2 guy for the Grizzlies instead of coming in for the Wizards. And he's totally changed their offense. They run the least pick and roll in the league. They still do a decent amount, like 40% of their possessions when Ja's in the game. And when he's out, they run almost no pick and roll. And it's the principle of, hey, you're an NBA guy. If I give you space, why would I bring a second defender over to you and now have 2 people potentially in your way when you can zip the ball around the court? And I want guys to move to open spots on the court. And that's how we're going to put pressure on the defense. So it's not just 4 guys around, or 5 guys around the perimeter and 1 guy in the dunk, or 5 guys around the perimeter, or 4 guys and then 1 guy in the dunker spot kind of stuff. It's like they're putting guys on the baseline, they're putting guys on the nail, like they're finding like open areas, and it's sort of the inverse of the way a lot of teams are playing. And they're the 5 seed right now. They could be a little higher if they've been a little healthier, but it's just they're playing differently. And just to your point, like they've got guys that want to play that style of play, and especially their bench players that aren't as dynamic as a Ja or somebody like that. So they're finding ways to maximize the talent and skill set that those guys have. We've got a Santi Aldama who's, on the Spanish national team, and this is a way he's comfortable playing, and he's looked better doing it. So I think those kinds of like innovations are really smart, and that's another thing I'd like to see the Wizards continue to emphasize too. So if Caporn can be the guy to do it and pick some of those wrinkles up, that'll only serve them in the long run here too.
Well, the NBA needs that.
Yep,
it needs that. It knows it needs it too. That's why they try to change the entire game from the roots, from from youth. That's why now they're changing the EYBL. They're changing because they understand that the way we have gone and the way now they're teaching American basketball, we can't sustain that way.
Yep.
Right. So, like you said, you have to implement some of those guys in the coaching staff. So, because that's the way you start adding those things, part of your slowly putting them as a part of your offense. And now the game, so believe you me, it's going to be more guys like that on teams, coaches.
And start those kind of different principles with these young guys now too, so they can kind of get used to it. And that's another thing. If you're not going to be like more talented than everybody, at least be a tough matchup. When every team plays the same way, our scheme doesn't have to change defensively too much from night to night. But if this team zags a little bit, now you got a game plan for us a little bit. So I would like to see kind of more.
But American players think a lot alike. So
that's true.
When the offense breaks down, what does the coach always say? I need a guy who can go get it without the offense. That's what we do over here, right?
Yep.
There it doesn't work that way, right? We take advantage of all the little holes, play against the defense, right? Look for the options, to the point to where you, like you say, it's almost like an inverse.
Yep.
Right. So that's the complete difference. Because what we say is, we need an Allen Iverson when the defense break down. You somebody just figure out how to get downhill and create something.
And
That's
they're
not how
still
they play over there.
yeah, and they're cool to let Ja rock and do that too. So they're really doing the best of both worlds, and I
Yeah.
think that's super smart. All right, just last thing as we get out of here. Uh, NCAA tournament starts today, so just I don't know how much college basketball you watched this year overall, but any thoughts or any bold predictions or anything like that?
There's a lot of good teams. I mean, this year is a really good year for college basketball.
Hmm.
You know, sometimes it's not, sometimes, but this is one of those years. You know, you have Duke, great with Cooper Flag. You know, everybody knows them. You know, Florida, I
They
think
look so
looks
good.
amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
they tough in every position.
Yep.
You know, you have Florida. You have, I think the sleeper is Tennessee.
I honestly 100% agree with you. Like no joke. I've been thinking that all week that they finally have enough offense to just
Mhm.
they're gonna beat you up no matter what, but now they can score a little bit too.
Yep, yep. So it's so Houston looks okay. I think Houston's not bad, but
Yeah.
um, I think if I had to bet on bet the house on it, I bet it on Florida.
I think you nailed it with they look the most complete, and there's a couple crazy stats out there of the teams that can win it, and they all have this profile and whatnot. But one of those things is they all have at least one guard that gets drafted in the first 30 of that
Oh, that
year's
big
draft.
guard.
Right, exactly. And they've got three dudes who could all find their way,
Yeah.
into the first round, and then their big men might even potentially go. One of them might go higher too. So,
It's also good to see the relevance of St. John's.
That's
You
cool.
know, that's great to see the relevance of St. John's now. To where I don't, and their defense is amazing. I don't know how much they're going to sustain, because in the end of the day, they're going to have to put some points on the board.
They cannot shoot at all beyond like 15 feet.
Yeah,
It's kind of wild.
yeah.
Johnny, I can't remember. Was St. John's good at all while you were there, or they were kind of on the downswing by then?
They wasn't on the downswing because they had guys like Felipe Lopez.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
Zenden Hamilton.
Yep.
Those guys. So they had a lot of pizzazz with them. Media, New York got the number one player from New York, and so they had a lot of interest going on. So it was a lot of fuel around them, But so then no, it was always a game plan against St. John's.
Just a draft related NCAA tournament question here. Derek Queen for Maryland, the big man. Do you see a pairing of him and Alex Sarr being able to work at all? Like, it's kind of a low post scorer, doesn't really have much range or much shot blocking kind of stuff. He's really just an interior presence, I think, but a really good one.
I think if you put Alex Sarr is versatile. He can be like an AD, Anthony Davis, where he can go to the four.
Yeah.
And then you need a traditional big. So if you do the traditional big, somebody who can be a four. Now, Alex Sarr is showing you he can be a 4 and a 5. I was surprised at all the stuff when he was about 3 games ago. I forgot who they played against. They played against Denver.
When he's putting the ball on the ground a little bit more.
It was all screen and rolls.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, I said Alex Sarr never really gets in the paint.
He didn't roll at all.
Every time it was screen and rolls. It was never really picking pops. It was screen and rolls. He was down there every time wide open, dunking every time. Boom, boom. I said, oh, he can do that. So he showed me a little bit that if we need him to go 5, he can go 5. Mm-hmm. But he's so versatile. He's definitely a 4. Yeah. He's a guaranteed 4 more than anything. Stretch the floor, blah, blah, blah. So if you have a traditional 5 who's a monster rebounding, that doesn't clog up the highways.
Right.
They'll work together.
Yeah, I think Queen's interesting. He immediately helps your rebounding, and he actually moves his feet on the perimeter a little bit better than he gets credit for. Like, he's bad defensively right now, but I think it's a lot of fixable kind of stuff. Like, if you've got the footwork and the foot speed to do it, it's just a matter of time where
that's the only thing now in the NBA. You have to be able to guard 1 through 5.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
being a 6'9" drop coverage big is not going to go particularly well.
Drop coverage key. I hate drop coverage.
Yeah. That's the challenge with him, I think. So he's got some touch. I think he'll shoot it ultimately. And he's a guy that's just kind of growing into his body here a little bit. Like he's shed like 25 pounds in the offseason, got some more to go. So I think, that's a team that is a guy that the Wizards might see like some value in, like, he's got some improvement he can make physically. And that's another thing. Like, it's the reverse of the Luka trade, right? Like, if this guy could do this 25 pounds overweight, imagine what he'll do if we'll get him in shape. So he could be interesting for the Wizards. All right, everybody, go watch some college basketball here. Let us know what prospects you want us to talk about on the show a little bit more after the tournament, maybe. I'm actually headed to Raleigh tomorrow to see Duke in person, so I will be courtside we'll see if Cooper Flag is out there, but at the very least, the other Duke draft picks, I'm going to get a first row look at. So should be pretty fun, and hopefully we get some good games out of it.
My guy Chris Carrywell, I said, what's up?
He's a St. Louis guy, right? I forgot about that.
Together. We played in the same high school basketball team.
I did not know that. Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
He's
that's
getting some
brother,
looks,
man.
I think he's getting some chatter about some of these head coaching jobs too. So I think that'd be great to see. He's been paying his dues there on that staff long enough. I think it's time to give him a shot. Very cool. Jahadi, good luck to the boys today. Let me know how they do. Look forward to seeing some highlights of them dunking on some guys later.
All right.
All right, everybody, you know the drill. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the like button for us if you're watching on YouTube. And as always, we're presented by betonline.ag. And we will catch y'all next time.